Okay, so
Yeah.
real talk, everyone's heard relationship advice.
Right.
Like, tons of it.
Oh, yeah,
Some is good,
for sure.
and some, let's just say, maybe not so much.
Maybe not.
And for today's deep dive, we are going to wade right into the muck
Uh-huh.
of the worst relationship advice out there. So if you're listening, you already know, you're smart, you're busy, you want to cut to the chase.
Right.
We're going to do that today. No BS, just the advice you should ignore.
Exactly.
But then we're going to go one better.
Okay.
We're going to give you the good stuff too.
Yeah.
Because what good is knowing what not to do
Yeah.
if you don't have any clue what TO do?
Right. Absolutely.
So let's start with, I think, like the biggest myth of them all.
Okay.
That whole love conquers all thing.
Oh, boy.
It sounds so romantic. But in reality, is that actually true?
Well, yeah, the fairy tales would have us believe that, wouldn't they? I think that love is absolutely essential to a relationship.
Right.
It's got to be there, but it's not a magic wand. Love can't just erase every problem, especially if you are ignoring fundamental incompatibilities or red flags.
Okay.
You know, one way to think about this is, imagine you're building a house.
Yeah.
Love might be the beautiful paint color you pick out or the nice furniture, but if the foundation is cracked, the whole house is going to come crumbling down,
Yeah.
no matter how pretty the decor is. So you really need those strong elements like compatibility, shared values, that willingness to grow together. Those are the building blocks.
That makes a lot of sense. And kind of on that same track, there's this idea that you should, like, change for your partner.
Yeah,
And part of me thinks, well, growth is good in a relationship.
it is.
Right?
Yeah.
So is there a line? Like, where do you draw that line?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a huge difference between healthy compromise, you know, give and take, and completely molding yourself into something you're not just to please somebody else. You know, if your partner is a real outdoorsy type and you're more of a homebody, should you force yourself to go on like week-long backpacking trips just to keep them happy?
Yeah, and I think, honestly, a lot of people feel that pressure
They do.
to, like, become someone they're not to make the relationship work.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to that communication and that respect thing. You know, maybe you try a short hike together. Maybe you find other things you both enjoy. The key is figuring it out together.
Yeah.
And respecting each other's individual needs.
Definitely. Okay, one more piece of classic relationship advice that honestly makes me cringe a little bit.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
Never go to bed angry.
Ah, yes.
I used to, like, really stress over this. I thought I had to resolve every little argument before I could go to sleep.
Right.
Even when I was exhausted or really just needed some space.
And honestly, forcing a resolution when you are not ready, when you need that time to process, can actually make things worse.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like literally sleeping on it can help you see things more clearly.
I agree.
And there's actually some really cool research that shows how sleep impacts our emotional processing. It can affect our moods, our decision-making. So that's interesting for those of you who, you know, like to geek out on self-improvement. But the problem with like pushing down those feelings instead of processing them in a healthy way is that they can build up.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that can lead to resentment.
So basically, don't ignore your feelings.
Don't ignore your feelings.
Deal with them eventually.
Eventually.
But maybe not when you're exhausted and about to fall asleep.
Right.
Okay. That's good advice. Now, let's talk about, honestly, some of the most outdated advice out there. And it's shocking how persistent these things are.
Yeah.
I'm talking about gender stereotypes. You know, like men should always initiate.
Yeah.
Like, come on, are we still in the Stone Age?
I know. And it's a problem because it puts all this pressure on men.
Right.
And it also limits women. It basically reinforces those outdated ideas that men are the hunters and women are passively waiting, which is so not how a modern equal partnership works.
Absolutely. And while we're debunking gender stereotypes, can we talk about the whole women are too emotional thing?
Oh my gosh.
It's like, do people think men don't experience feelings intensely?
Right. It's ridiculous. Emotions are human.
Yes.
Not gender specific. And dismissing someone's feelings, no matter who they are, that just shuts down communication.
Okay, last piece of bad advice before we switch gears to the good stuff.
Okay.
The one who cares less has the power.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, it sounds like we're back in high school. But it's not just high school drama.
Yeah.
This idea is toxic. Healthy relationships, they're built on mutual respect, vulnerability, trust, not on playing games and trying to manipulate each other. It's not a competition.
Exactly. Okay. Enough of the negativity. We've talked about what not to do.
Right.
Now, let's flip the script and give our listeners, they're smart. They're here for solutions. So let's give them some healthy alternatives to these relationship myths.
I agree. And I think it starts with good communication.
Okay.
And I don't just mean talking. I mean truly listening to your partner,
Mm-hmm.
being able to express your own needs clearly, and then also reflecting back what you're hearing from them, like active listening.
So kind of like mirroring what they're saying to make sure you get it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's really interesting. I like that. I'm going to try that.
It can really help to make sure you're both on the same page. And it all ties into knowing yourself, too.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because the more you understand your own values, your own boundaries, the easier it is to find a partner who's truly compatible
Yeah.
and to work through conflicts in a healthy way.
So it's not about avoiding conflict altogether.
No, not at all.
It's about, like, having healthy strategies to deal with it.
Exactly. Taking a break if things are getting heated, focusing on what you each need instead of blaming each other, finding that common ground. Those are the things that help relationships thrive.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap. The worst relationship advice to ditch. Love isn't a cure-all.
Yep.
Don't change who you are for someone else. Forced resolution usually backfires. And throw those gender stereotypes out the window.
Absolutely.
Done and done.
And here's a thought. If these were just a few examples of bad advice out there,
Oh.
what other relationship myths are we still clinging to?
Ooh, good question.
It's a reminder to stay curious, to keep learning, to question what you hear.
Love it. Okay, folks, you heard it here.
Yeah.
Stay informed, stay savvy, and ditch the bad advice. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.